Today we're going to take a look at a game that I really didn't expect to like, but ended up really enjoying, and that game is Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4 is absolutely insane. It features a really deep narrative that I wasn't really expecting. Essentially, you play as a character who goes to this fictitious Himalayan province called Kyrat, and what you're trying to do is scatter your mother's ashes at this specific spot that no one seems to know where it is. Along the way, you get caught up in some sort of political separatist movement called the Golden Path, and you're trying to basically bring balance to the area, and you have two different co-leaders of the Golden Path that you can follow. And I love the fact that the story actually changes depending on which missions you tackle. The only downside that I had with the story is the fact that the main antagonist he's totally underused, and it's a shame because he's a really wild and crazy character. Something else I really enjoyed with the game is the overall gameplay. This is a type of game where it's an open world setting where you take on missions to progress the story, and there's a wide assortment of side missions, but it's just insane. You can ride elephants into like sort of small hubs or outposts or whatever you want to call them, wield like a flamethrower type thing, grenade launchers, a bow and arrow with fire arrows, you know, just complete chaos. And it's weird because it really contrasts with the deep and way too serious storyline, but yet at the same time, this crazy and addictive gameplay really meshes well together. And like I say, I was really surprised by that. And then throw in a co-op mode where you can have another player join you in the madness, and you have no idea how crazy things can get. You can have one person in a gyrocopter, which is basically flying around everywhere, and then the other guy can grapple hook onto it, pick out enemies, throw grenades, and just, you know, so on and so forth. It's just insane. And your backdrop here is this beautiful mountain ranges and, you know, little villages, deep forests, and so on and so forth. It's just a wide variety of environments, and they all look stunning. I played this one on the PlayStation 4, which is what you're seeing right now, but you can only imagine how much more impressive this is on PC. It's amazing. The audio package is also quite impressive. Great voice acting. There is a couple of really annoying characters here and there, but for the most part, soundtrack is really badass. The whole package comes together quite nicely, but I'm going to jump back to the gameplay for just a second here. You also have a very good level progression system in the game, which sort of makes you want to go and tackle all these different missions and side quests and what have you, because you unlock more and more useful powers based on a very simple skill tree system. But it works well. Like I say, it's enticing. It's calling you to keep playing, and that's the absolute highest compliment I can sort of give the game. I also had a lot of fun with the skinning system, and this is interesting. This is where you go and hunt down animals, and yes, you sort of like gut them, and you can use their guts as a way of luring a whole bunch of different, you know, tigers or bears and things like that at your enemies. And like I say, it's ridiculous, but it's fun, and yet somehow it all fits in the context of this bizarre world. Anyways, the skinning also is very useful because it allows you to upgrade your different ammo cases, your general backpack where you hold your loot and things like that. So there's an actual practical use out of hunting down different animals, and also to, you know, take on all these other missions to make your character more and more powerful. Now, there are two aspects to the game that didn't sit well with me. The first is, I don't know if this really makes sense, but I felt there was just too much to do. One of the core aspects of the game is that you have to go and liberate these bell towers or these radio towers. And as you do that, you'll unlock new activities and new areas to go and explore. Now the thing is, when you first liberate your first radio tower, you're going to notice all kinds of different spots will pop up on the map. And then if you go into the store, which is where you can buy ammunition, you can buy new weapons and things like that, but you can also buy maps, and these maps will highlight key areas that you should go and visit. Now, it's possible that when you just unlock that first radio tower, you could potentially have near 100 different areas to go and visit. Now imagine, there's like 24 radio towers in the entire game, so it almost feels like Ubisoft went out of their way to just jam as much stuff as they possibly could in the game. Now depending on you, that could be a good thing, but for me I just felt that it was a little bit overwhelming. And the other aspect of the game that didn't sit too well with me is the fact that I find that this series, the Assassin's Creed series, and even Watch Dogs are all starting to blur together into this one like Omega series. They're all feeling just a little bit too similar to one another, and I think that's because all three of these series are going to be yearly series. So I think Ubisoft really needs to cut back a little bit on these games, because like I say, the worst thing that can happen is if they all are interchangeable and there's nothing really unique about any of them. So I'm hoping that Ubisoft slows down a little bit, because this is a really fun game. This is an enjoyable experience that I highly recommend you go check out. But just realize that it is starting to feel a lot like all the other games that Ubisoft puts out there. So if you guys are curious and you want to find out a lot more information, I highly encourage you to go check out ProjectCoe.com for the full written review.